Hey there, thank you for watching. In this video, I'm going to share my honest, updated thoughts on financial independence, retire early, or FIRE, my goals, my strategy, how it's shifting ever so slightly, and what I know my next step is going to be, what my next step has to be in order to move forward. So before we get started, I ask you to please like this video if you are interested in financial independence. It is a huge help to my channel, and it's free. Who doesn't love free? So I thank you in advance for doing that. So kind of to get into my updated thoughts, and I'll tell you what's leading to this update, what has been updated, what thoughts of my current views are updated, and how I'm going to adjust my goals, and then finally what my next step will be. So what caused this update was I just got back from vacation, and it's fully not FIRE related, because all in full disclosure, I will tell you how much it cost. And I went budget on this. Like, I did not go fully expensive, luxury tricked out. This was just a family getaway. We try to get away. By we, I mean me, my mom, my sister, her husband, our significant others, people that mean a lot to me. And we try to get away and meet sometime in either June, July, or August, sometime in the summer. She lives in Tennessee. I live in the northeastern US, so we try to meet halfway in the middle. This year we went to North Carolina because that was a halfway point for both of us, and we pretty much all love the beach. So we met at a coastal town in North Carolina. I rented a vacation home for us, and we all stayed together. I kind of mentioned that in my last video last week, but that was a vacation, and it was amazing, and I loved every single part of it. It was just incredible. But here's the thing is that made me realize two things. Number one, totally not FIRE compliant, because if my first goal had been, I want to stay on this FIRE track, that would not have happened, because all in, that vacation cost about $3,000, $3,500. That included repairs I needed to do for my car for a long haul road trip, which I actually didn't even end up taking the car because the repairs would have taken too long. So I ended up renting a car. So it was car rental costs as well. And then there were some other housing costs that went on in there. Also. So again, to say that I went very budget, and I didn't even pay for everything. So I covered the transportation and the housing costs. My sister and her husband paid for themselves for their transportation, and they covered dinner for us. A lot of nights, most nights. And also they bought some groceries, and we kind of shared being in the house. So it was an awesome time. But as I was kind of like tallying up the costs there, all in, I realized that money could have been put into savings. So I spent $3,500, give or take, on that, because there were different expenses that were kind of considered in that, like the car repair. I probably would have had to do it at some point this year, but it probably would have been later. This just kind of accelerated the need to do that immediately. So that was a cost that I could have avoided if I decided not to go on vacation. And I realized that for me, again, one of my principles and one of my core values is spending time with people I love right now. Because one of the reasons we decided to do this type of vacation last year was because my mom was leaving the country, and she's planning on leaving the country again in January. So spending time with her right now, where we all are in our current life situations, is so important. And sure, I could have saved that money, absolutely. But was this the best use of that money and my time at the time? Absolutely. So it was kind of this balance between, do I save that $3,500 or do I spend it on vacation? And 100% it was worth it to spend on vacation. That said, there's a reckoning to come, and there's something I know that I have to account for, because the balance I have in savings is $3,500 less than what it was. And that's painful for me because I feel it. In my case study, on my financial journey, I mentioned at the time how much I had in savings. That number has gone up, thank God, but not by a whole lot. And I realized that I'm the only one that has to blame for that. Like, it is 100% my fault where I am financially, which is better than where it was in February, but is nowhere near where I know I can be. So that's kind of the second realization that came to me, is that I have a lot of work to do. And while my financial independence number is still somewhere from $750 to $1.2 million, I know that target will always be there. And the honest truth is that family may not always be there. And I know there's always that fine line between living in the moment versus saving for the future. That is always sort of a negotiation that I will have to make, that anyone that looks at their finances has to make. But I guess I'm making this very honestly and very, very consciously. So that's kind of an updated shift in the way that I'm thinking about my financial independence and what independence truly is. So for me, it's the freedom to be able to spend that time with my family. So the second thing, or the third thing that I'm thinking about in terms of my financial journey. So I talked about my goal, which is to spend time with the people that mean the most to me. My strategy is going to continue to be the same, and that is saving at least 10% of my income for long-term investments and continuing not to go into debt. And that is something that I am committed to doing. Now I talk about the next steps and the things that I know I need to do. One thing that I know I need to do. And this was actually brought about by a subscriber or a viewer, Mario D'Souza, who posted a video response to my case study from February that I posted, the Mr. Money Mustache case study. So, and this was really interesting, and I really appreciated Mario's take on this. And I was kind of nervous at first to watch it because he's like, I posted my response here, and I've gotten a lot of really nasty, really negative responses. So I kind of like prepared myself for the worst. I'm like, is he totally going to be ripping into me? Is he going to be telling me that I can only spend $3 on personal care? Like, what's the deal here? So I was kind of prepared for the worst in that. But his video was astoundingly, I don't say astounding because he seems like a very intelligent, well-educated and well-informed kind of guy. So his video just offered really, really interesting and practical, actionable, smart insights. And I'm actually going to look into a few of them, many of them, because I think that he really hit it on the head in terms of what's important to me and what I need to do to level up, move to the next level financially. He hit it, especially his view on tithing, because I think that he gets what's important to me and what would be kind of a good step to consider. So I am looking into that. So I will link to Mario's video down below if you feel like watching it. It's 20 minutes. That's really worth it. Like, honestly, I don't know. He mentions he works in healthcare, but he ought to do a financial Q&A channel because this was a really insightful dissection of my numbers. They have changed again a bit since I posted them in February, but they are for the most part similar. So the only thing I need to update and disclaim to what he said was, he said people tend to underestimate their expenses, and I fully understand that. And most people, most normal people, totally would underestimate their expenses, but I'm not most normal people. So I tend to round up always when it comes to reporting expenses, meaning I will say that I've spent more than I've actually spent, which is the case. I also have been setting aside, since February, setting aside 10%. At least post-tax savings. So once the money hits my account, I am contributing. I've maxed out my contributions to my Roth IRA, and I am saved. So that's my work contribution, which my employer matches, and then I'm also saving 10% on top of that. So I am saving monthly, and that wasn't factored in. So I'm not spending more than I make. He pointed that out. I did underestimate my income by just a tad. So there was like a $300 difference, maybe less than $300, I think, in terms of what I was spending and what I was making. So I don't spend more than I make, just to put that there. And my side hustles do bring in a certain amount on the side. Not a tremendous amount. I'd say between like $100 to $300, just kind of if they're running in the background, which gives me some leeway in terms of spending money. So that's the only thing I would say in response to what he has to say in his video that he made in response to my video. Everything else is really spot on, especially when it comes to those tithing contributions. I don't think I would do what he suggests, only because I'm kind of changing where I send my tithe to, and I'm currently splitting it between two organizations. But I totally get what he's saying, and it just made so much sense. I'm like, of course that's the right thing to do. You have to find out, because it's a really good idea what he suggested. And were I contributing to one organization, I would consider doing that. And I know people that do that. When I'm in my work with the symphony orchestra that I work with, we have someone that gives that exact same way. You'll have to check it out to see what he suggests, but we have someone that does that. So I know very high net worth individuals do that. This is something else that he said as far as next steps go, which was a really interesting it is setting the stage introduction to who he was. So he mentioned that one of his first jobs was working for a wealth management firm, and that he only worked with high net worth clients, and that was clients that have above $5 million in portfolio with that institution. And he said that without doing anything, just waking up in the morning, these clients made more money yearly than some people see from their job ever in their life. So it was like if you have $500,000 in investment, they would be getting an automatic $250,000 just from the interest or dividends from that investment. And that to me is crazy and such a great realization to have at a young age, to show A, the importance of compound interest, and B, the importance of acquiring that money. The possibilities, the potential that type of asset brings. So that was what I took from his case study, or a case study review of my case study, and how that so radically kind of changed my approach to my own life. So this is the next step that I know that I need to take, which he pointed out, and he is 100% spot on. I need to make more money. He said that my primary, my biggest problem was my income was so low, which for where it is in the Northeast, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Let me say that differently. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's not great. And I know I can be doing better. I know that I can be bringing more value to the marketplace with the skills that I have. I know that I can be applying myself and learning new skills and using them on behalf of clients and institutions to generate more value than I'm currently doing. So this kind of, to me, was a great call to action, a great reminder, wake-up call, because I've known this for a long time. And this is part of my sort of ingrained feeling that I would never have a lot of money. I would never be worth a lot of money, because the career fields that I was looking at, I wanted at one point to be in theater, I was going to be a writer. I was in publishing for a long time. And I knew that these fields weren't typically highly compensated. So I never anticipated having a great net worth. So now that I'm in this phase of my life where I'm really paying attention to my financial numbers, and I'm really taking my financial future and my taking control of my financial destiny, I feel like I owe it to myself to become what I know I can, and to be generating the worth that I know I can generate. This is kind of starting to sound like a cheesy motivational movie, but this is really what's happening, and sort of the transformation that I'm going through for myself, in terms of really honestly looking at what this idea of financial independence means. And in all that I've learned since February, when I posted that rant on F.I.R.E. and how I got burned, I think that I've learned that financial independence, I know that I've learned that financial independence isn't so much about being able to stop working as it is getting back control of your working destiny. And for me, the number one way to do that is to take charge and develop my full earning potential, which is just where it is. So that's kind of where I am right now. It is, it's actually the Friday before the long Labor Day weekend. It's the first weekend in September of 2020, and I am looking forward to heading out into this weekend and having a great time. Whenever you're watching this, I thank you so much for watching. And let me know what brought you here, and what your thoughts are on financial independence. What's your strategy, and how have your views and thoughts and ideas matured as you learn more about financial independence and the world around you, and learn more about yourself? I would love to know. So let me know in the comments. Please remember to like this video. It's a huge help. And as always, I thank you once more for watching. Bye.